I think women in India are used to being challenged virtually from the day they are born. Given the fact that we have so many roles and each role is way more intense than for a man, I don't know if I would have been as successful if I was a man. I don't know if I would have had what it takes. I have what it takes because I'm a woman. Hi, I'm Anju Srivastava, the founder and managing director of Wingreens World. So, Win in Wingreen stands for the Women's Initiative Network, and Greens is the farming piece. So, I grew up in Mumbai and Pune essentially. I was born in Belgaum. After college, I tried to convince my parents that I want to do my MSW, which is Masters of Social Work. At which time, my dad essentially told me that if you are not earning anything and you don't have money in your pocket, then you will not be able to help anyone else. Then I got into advertising after college. It was a fascinating experience. I worked for almost 25 years. While I was working in advertising, I was also practicing alternate healing on patients whom doctors had given up on, which was, of course, entirely a passion. And I had a separate life which was serving people. But now I wanted to bring the two together, which could actually grow faster, bigger, and more profitable. So that was the starting point of Wingreens, actually. So what Wingreens stands for is essentially connecting agriculture and food and beverage together by empowering communities who are underprivileged. The first time I saw potted herbs in stores was in America. So that was one inspiration. One got exposure to so many different kinds of packaged foods and fresh foods, and it's another world which did not exist in India. So had I not gone, I wouldn't have had the kind of perspective that I have today. Being from Mumbai, I had never stepped foot into a farm. I started researching. And then I decided to get a few seed packets and just plant a few seeds and see if they grew. I realized there's another joy in seeing plants just grow. So I thought, why not do this and then see if we can pot these? And our first contracts for retail sector actually came from our potted herbs. This was a big hit. And we rented our first half acre of land to make this project bigger. Then we had a whole lot of basil growing at the farm, and there's no way you can pot so much basil and sell it. So it was a very, very difficult business to scale up. The next thing I thought of was that why not process it? That was the starting of fresh dips. We started with a farming model. And we had to make use of our farm produce. So what we started as a social enterprise actually became the reason for our having grown and becoming a popular brand. One of our whole objectives is to add maximum value wherever we can, and therefore we think through everything very carefully. So we decided to work with people who've not worked before. The village that we decided to work in was the landlords and all had a lot of land and it had been integrated into mainstream Gurgaon. But the population of the landless, was actually very, very poor. They were extremely conservative. So the women were in ghungats. They were not allowed out of their homes or out of their ghungats. And they desperately needed, to have two incomes. So we decided, to work with the women who hadn't worked before. It wasn't the husband mostly stopping the women. In most cases, it is the in-laws or the mother-in-law. So it's women who stop women to a very large extent. So it was very interesting how we would, in some cases, even convince both mother-in-law and daughter-in-law to come together. When we first started, if a mixie broke down and we had to call an electrician to fix it, they would all pull their ghungats down and they would all run out of the room where the work was happening. And today they work along with men on the shop floor. The ghungats have disappeared. The best part is that, their husbands have started really respecting them. So my husband Arjun, it started with him saying that I will fund this, I will support you. And he put in the first amount of money. There were times when I was completely broke and we didn't know what to do because we didn't have money left. And then we were paying salaries out of his income. And one day I told him, I said, Arjun, I spent a lot of money. How do we go further with this? How do you feel about it? And he told me, I'll just pretend that I sent you to Harvard. It costs more than this. So why don't you also think of it like that?
We are today at a size and scale where we have over 1,000 employees. We are available in over 200 cities in India. And with the acquisitions now, we also have our footprint in other parts of the country. So Raw Pressery is headquartered in Mumbai. Wingreens is over here in Gurgaon. Then we have Monsoon Harvest, which is in Coimbatore. We have Postcard, which is in Bangalore. And we have Sorcery, which is also based in Mumbai.
So Anju is the perfect balance between someone who's strategic, very, very visionary, a big risk taker, and at the same time, she's very, very balanced and mature.
I don't think I ever wanted to be anybody in my life, and neither do I want to be someone in my life now. And it was one of the reasons for starting Wingreens actually, where, start working at the grassroots, looking at human beings as human beings and not rich or poor, educated or not educated. And my whole life has been actually like a pursuit in trying to find ways in which people and the world around me can be a happier place.